it was a good thing. Then one by one we came undone, like we dimmed the sun. And I want to see that now isn't how we want to be. Oh, it's all on the table. We are shakeable and sometimes breakable, but always, we are always indestructible. Us and them take the attention. Well, we lost direction. Oh. And we've got a hold on what we think we know, but still don't get too close. And I want to see that now isn't how we want to be. Oh, we are shakeable and sometimes breakable, but always, we are always indestructible. Rattle the walls, lean in and fall, count to 10 and try again. Oh, we are breakable, sometimes shakeable. We are forever indestructible. We are indestructible. Sometimes we are breakable. Always indestructible.
Wow. Thank you, Laura Berman. We are indestructible. Welcome this morning to Unity Spiritual Center of Portland as we gather, opening our hearts and holding that idea. I am indestructible. We are indestructible. At the very core of our being is God, is spirit, is wholeness, is life, and all that moves around us, that feels like it crushes in. It is a movement. I claim and hold and know that there is a movement of spirit, that there is an awakening. And I invite every one of us to be open and receptive to the highest wisdom that spirit would have us know, to the highest step that we're being called to take at this time. It does not mean that we do not stand absolutely with George Floyd, with Dwayne Wright, with Adam Toledo. It does not mean that we do not stand. It means that we stand as the indestructible essence of spirit, willing to step forth. So I invite every one of us as we create a circle, and that circle is around the globe, around this country. We create a circle of consciousness, and let's begin this service in prayer. Mother, Father, God, infinite spirit, we open this morning to a larger understanding of the path we are called to walk, of the next step that is ours, of the trust, the absolute trust that there is a higher evolution happening, and a trust that we have come as a part of that movement, that we are called to expand, to express, and to step forth with love, as love. Completely inclusive. We surround every being in this country today, in our families, in our circles of all of those that we know. We surround with a deeper understanding of spirit. You are called. You are enough. You are indestructible. And we hold a rising of an awareness that every being is a creation of the infinite. Every being as God, in God, created, whole, infinite, and complete. And as we hold that idea and gather in this knowing, we simply say, here I am, move through me. And so it is. Amen. And we just continue to welcome each of you here. I want to read you something from Rumi as we get started, and we're moving into our announcements. Rumi said, darkness is your candle. In the blackest of your moments, wait with no fear. When the world pushes you to your knees, you're in the perfect position to pray. Be full of sorrow, that you may become a hill of joy. Weep, that you may break into laughter. Life is a journey, and it is calling us forth, each one of us. I want to share with you some of what's happening here at Unity of Portland. Our plant sale, since I didn't announce that it was the end last week, has been extended for another week. If you're interested in getting the starts, it's wonderful. Go on our e-newsletter. There are many different types, plants, all kinds of things there. Tomato plants, vegetable plants, also many different flowers. So that all the proceeds go to the youth and family ministry. So this will be the last year we're doing it, our annual plant sale, because the company, it is the last year they're doing it. So we just honor them and that they worked with us this year to do that. Our spring community outreach project is still going on. It goes through April 5th. No, it goes on further than that. I know it goes through May, I believe it's May 5th, but that project, there's bins outside the back door, Sundays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, 12 to 4. They go to several different shelters and places that are serving the houseless population, and non-perishable foods like peanut butter, cheese and crackers, trail mix, gender-neutral socks, towels, travel-sized toiletries, many things. You can look again on our e-newsletter, and it's a part of us stepping out and saying, this is how we touch the world around us. And I invite you to be a part, because when we feel like the world is crashing in on us, one of the greatest gifts we can do is say, wait a minute, I'm a channel. I can touch in this way. I can touch in this way. I can touch in this way, and continue pushing back out, touching around us. Next week, we begin a new Sunday service, or Sunday series. It's called Divine Audacity. The book is in the bookstore. Many of you may have it. And we're going to be looking at what are the spiritual qualities that take us through what I consider to be right now tough times in our lives. We already have that infinite presence within us. How do we express it and allow it to expand? So that'll be starting next week. And spirit groups will also be starting next week. If you'd like to take the Sunday message and one of the chapters of the book that we'll be studying each week and just connect with other people, I invite you to look at that. These circles will be happening Mondays at 4, Wednesdays at 1, Wednesday at 7, Saturdays at 10. And there is a small circle that will be meeting outside here after, or it may, in one of these rooms, after church. So that's the first time we've done that. And again, having a small group do that. So I just invite you to be a part of that. There is also a new class with our prayer practitioner, Lynn Soden. It is 4 Mondays, May 3rd through May 24th. 7 to 8:30, it's $40. It is called Standing Firm When Your World is Shaking. And it is going through 4 strong principles of how we do that. So you can sign up again on the e-newsletter. You can do it on our website. We're looking for a cleaner for the church. Anybody who wants to be a part of that, it's a 3-hour a week job. Call Diana in the office. Our volunteer opportunities, the garden team would love to have new members. If you haven't seen the garden, it's wonderful. You can work by yourself. You can work different hours of the day. Just call and we'll give you information on that. And our youth and family ministry will begin its reopening. In just a minute, I'm going to show you some of what happened during our Easter celebration. Again, it was out in the parking lot, but we're going to bring in the kids one Sunday at a time just to begin. I say bring in, they'll be outside with Barbara and with some of the Sunday school teachers just to begin getting them to know each other again. Age groups have changed. We'll start on May 16th with the preschoolers and go up. Our youth and the Uniteens, which is our middle schoolers, are already meeting on Zoom and in person periodically, and also our YOUers, our high schoolers. So if you have any questions, please call and you'll get lots more information. We are going to show you a little bit about our Easter egg celebration, our Easter celebration. Oh, yes. It's just wonderful to realize that our family, our community can gather and can just celebrate life. And so what a great gift. And we're going to move into
Amen.
our
Let's
congregational
sing. Stand
song.
if you are able. No pressure. I know we know this. I am open to receive the love in you and me. Let's sing out through our masks. In one voice. Here we go. I am open. I am open. I am open. I am open to receive the love in you and me. I am open. Yes, I am open. I am open to receive the love in you and me. Now let's sing it, know it for each other. You are open. You are open. Yes, you are open. You are open to receive the love in you and me. You are open. You are open. You are open to receive the love in you and me. Now we are open. We are open. We are. love in you and me. The love in you and me. The love in you and me. The love in you and me. We are open to the love in you and
Oh, thank you, thank you. I just invite you again to look around this room for those of you who are here and around your homes and wherever you are gathered, just knowing namaste, the divine in me greets the divine in you. We are so blessed as humanity to experience this journey of life. All right.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am. Letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and I see that there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love, love, love that heals and love that sets us free. Yes, there is only love.
As we take this time to relax, to let go of worry and fear, and to turn within, continuing to allow that sacred cycle of the breath, breathing in fully and breathing out completely as we allow that sacred cycle to turn our attention within. Letting go. Letting our bodies relax again and again. And whatever we have held inside in our bodies this week, we loose that. We let it go. And we recognize that life is sacred. The journey that we walk at this time is holy. It has within it all of the pieces, all of the ideas of enough. God, one presence, one power. The quantum field vibrates through us, as us this moment. And we allow ourselves to breathe in those words, I am only love. There is only love. We are only love. In the silence. In the silence. again and again, recognizing that each of us is a creation of this infinite consciousness of love, of the universal energy that moves, that lifts, that loves. We open again and again to this inner knowing and to a life which every step holds love. And we are so blessed, and so it is. Amen.
There is only love. There is only love. A love that heals. This love sets us free. There is only love. All the money that the world could hold, mountains made of solid gold, riches that could buy my dreams. You are better than all these things. The prettiest face to turn their eyes, beauty that could hypnotize, the open doors that looks may bring. You are better than all these things. And your love is better than life. You are the well that won't run dry. I have tasted and I have seen. You are better than all these things. Power that could shake the moon, most important one in every room. Status matched by only kings. I know that you are better than all these things. Your love is better than life. You are the well that won't run dry. I have tasted and I have seen. I know that you are better than all these things. Your love is better than life. You are the well that never runs dry. I have tasted and I have seen. I know that you are better than all these things. Being liked and loved by everyone, approval that outshines the sun, cheered by all who think of me. You are better, you are better, you are better than all these things. I know that you are better than all these things. I know you are better than all these things. Sing if you feel it. I know you are better than all these things. Love is, I know that you are better than all these things. Oh, your love is better than life. You are my well and you never run dry. I You are better. Love is better. Love is always better. You are better.
Thank you, Laura. You are better than all these things. There is enough. Enough is a concept that is within every heart, every being. And yet so often we've been raised with something that doesn't have much to do with that. And as we move through these times, I just invite you to continually breathe in a larger awareness of who you are, what you have been created to both be and do and know and experience, and to know you're enough for everything that happens along your journey of life, right where you are. I want to, the message that I originally had for today was understanding Islam. And many of you know that Ramadan began this week. And part of this journey that we're on, which is to trust, to grow, to learn, and to love, is the learning, is a deeper understanding. And so we will talk about that. However, I've put in front of it revolutionary love and understanding Islam. And I want to talk a little bit about where we go with a week like we've had. And I've mentioned some of these pieces where we, for the 6th week in a row, I don't know if you're aware of it, but the mass shootings have also been back. And so it seems like the pandemic break is over for that. And so there's families dealing with change and with hurt and with pain and with death. And we look at that and say, what do I do? Where do I go? And I want to start with where we go is to recognize that for some reason, and I say it all the time, we have chosen this bodily form to be born at this time in this place with this journey. And we're a part of the healing of a planet, of a country, of ourselves and our families, and all of it moving together. I had the great honor this week of talking with someone, and I probably won't make much of this service, I won't make much of it through without crying because it's just been that kind of week, and that's okay. But I had the great, great honor of talking with Reverend Udo Igwe. Many of you met him when he was here probably 10 years ago, maybe less. He is a either second or third generation Unity minister in Nigeria. And him as a being has both mentored me, although he called to thank me, as he looks at his life, and he has spent quite a few days in the ICU or in his experience of that as his body wasn't doing what he wanted. And he was holding this space and talking, and we were praying together and looking together, and the first thing he said is, I want you to know I have no fear, because I know that the presence of God is with me every moment. There's no place I can go that God is not. And that can sound trite, but I believe the more we learn to live within that. And he said, remember, before we ask, when there is an appearance of a difficulty or a problem or something that needs to be solved, in the quantum field, there is already an answer. There is already a solution. There is never anything that's happening. And I want you to look at that individually, collectively, and globally. There is always a solution. There is always, before you ask, I shall answer. This is a consciousness. When we look at the quantum field, and whatever has been connected cannot be ever completely disconnected, even though we think I'm separate, I'm alone, I'm hurting. My people, this is happening. Look at what's happening, and we can label it terrible. I'm inviting you to both feel the pain, to feel the sorrow, to feel the crunching down of what happens. And as Rumi said, to allow darkness to be your candle, to be your light, to allow a knowing that before I ask, In consciousness, there is already a solution. There is an answer for humanity. And my opportunity is to allow the love that I am to love myself, to love the next step I take, even if it is the most unproductive, whatever you end up doing. And then to say, today, this is what I do. This day, this is what I do. But to not allow our minds, or if we allow our minds to shut down, hold them in love. Hold them in love. And to continue to recognize, somehow I said yes. There's enough in me. I'm already the solution. Every one of us here is a part of that solution. It doesn't come from a magical thing out there. It comes from humanity having the courage to open hearts and to allow something more to happen. My daughter, Leah, this week, who in her world, life looks differently. And she said, Mom, why does my brain feel so much anger right now? And she did tell me a lot of it was pointed at me. And I was amazed that she could feel what's happening. Be aware of what's happening in your body. Be able to name it. Where is it? What is it? Whoa, okay. How do we love that? How do we love ourselves? How do we go through there? And I just want to say, I was so honored with talking with this wise being. And he said, no matter how large, no matter how small the need, the solution is completely confirmed in spirit. And he said, what I must do is to trust, to follow God, and to love. Wow. Life is asking that of each of us. We may not know where it's going or what's happening. So I want to start with that idea of truth. Then I want to look at, in this book, believe it or not, it doesn't, you may or may not be able to see it, but it is completely chewed on the outside. My dog has licked it, basically, to pieces. So we're fighting over it. It's called See No Stranger. It's by Valerie Kaur. And it is her journey she said her journey of awakening really began after 9/11. As a Sikh American, she did not realize that while much of the anger was pointed at Muslims in this country, because of the Sikh way of dressing, they were considered that. And so as she lost her uncle to a hate crime and other family members and other members in her community, she began looking at what does it mean to me and what does it take? And her word is revolutionary love. And I want to read you some of it. I've read you some of it before, but I would invite you to begin knowing that part of this, and it's not easy to take in information that we may not want to hear because it hurts. And so I do it in little pieces. And unfortunately, the dog does it in little pieces too. And so I'm hoping I get through more of it before I have to get more books, just because of, it's kind of, that's what life is doing right now. And I brought it because sometimes our lives look like that. It's being chewed up on the outside, but there's still all the stuff on the inside that we're still working with and working through. But she, in this book, and this is just from the actual, the beginning part, her introduction, but she has 9 steps. It's 3 different categories, and it's learning to love, it's see no stranger, but it's the idea of loving those that we don't want to love. And she has 3 steps on how. It's learning to love ourselves, and it's learning to love larger. And so it's how we do that, and it fascinates me. She said, this book is for anyone who feels breathless. Your breathlessness is not a sign of weakness. What I wish to tell you is that your breathlessness is a sign of bravery. It means you are awake to what's happening right now. The world is in transition, and we are asked to stay awake. Now, go to sleep for a while, but just commit. I'll be getting up in the morning and doing it again. And then she said she shares her experience being asked by a good friend, and this is kind of what began some of this, Reverend William Barber, to speak at the Metropolitan AME Church, a historic black church in Washington, D.C. And she shared something that ended up going viral. So you may have seen it a few years ago. But that began her journey. And she said she knew that people were still in shock over the presidential election. So it was in 2017, I believe, is where it was New Year's Eve on 2016, moving into 2017. And to the packed audience, she said, the future is dark, but what if this in this darkness is not the darkness of the tomb, but the darkness of the womb? What if our America is not dead, but a country that is waiting to be born? What if the story of America is one long labor? What if all our grandfathers and grandmothers are standing behind us now, those who survived occupation and genocide, slavery and Jim Crow, detentions and political assault? What if they are whispering in our ear, you are brave? What if this is our nation's greatest transition? The crowd, and she goes on, the crowd erupted saying, yes, yes, hallelujah. Reverend Barber was on his feet with his great bare hands outstretched over me. And if you know him, that is truly who he is. What does the midwife tell us to do? I cried over the roar. Breathe and then push. In the weeks that followed, the address that Valerie gave was viewed over 40 million times. And she was asked again and again, how do we breathe? How do we push? How do we keep laboring for justice when we feel hopeless? She also became a target for online hate and eventually had to, and her family, and as a Sikh American and a woman of color for whom these struggles were so personal, she finally left the country and went for a year and wrote this book on how. But I believe life right now is absolutely calling us to breathe and push. And this week, as I was looking at that and working with that, I have to say, I said, breathe, pray, and push. I couldn't quite get to the pushing and the action until I got myself centered and knew where I was. But the breathing is the first part. Our nervous systems actually get, there's all these electrical movement that's happening. And when we hear the things out there, yes, they are affecting us. Yes, that is a very real thing. You can talk to any counselor, any doctor that has studied this. That is happening. And we have the ability to breathe, to remember to breathe, and to breathe out fully, and to know that we are on this sacred journey. Part of what she said, all I know is the only way we will endure is if each of us shows up to the labor. Revolutionary love is how we stay in the fire. I believe revolutionary love is the call of our times. Here is my offering, and I'm going to read this to you. Love is more than a feeling. Love is a form of sweet labor, fierce, bloody, imperfect, and life-giving, a choice we make over and over again every day. If love is sweet labor, love can be taught, it can be modeled, and it can be practiced. The labor engages all of our emotions. Joy is a gift of love. Grief is the price of love. Anger protects that which is loved. And when we think we have reached our limit, wonder is the act that returns us to love. I wonder what is happening here. I wonder what I need to know. I wonder what's mine to do. I wonder what's happening in their world, in their mind. Revolutionary love is the choice to enter into wonder and labor for others, for our opponents, and for ourselves in order to transform the world around us. It is not a formal code or prescription, but an orientation to life that is personal and political and rooted in joy. Loving only ourselves is escapism. Loving only our opponents is self-loathing. Loving only others is ineffective. All three practiced together make revolutionary love, and revolutionary love can only be practiced in community. It's very easy. Hear that. Revolutionary love can only be practiced in community. Up until now, for many of us, we've been able to live we've been called to live in a bubble, and I'm not talking about that. But we also, and Barbara Marx Hubbard talked about, especially those of us following new thought genres, that it is very easy to think we're all alone and to make ourselves all alone. Part of this journey right now is moving back into community, moving back into being a part. Sometimes it's easier just to be by myself. Do you know what it takes when you have 3 other family members around you and all these things? What happens? I mean, couldn't I just be by myself and read my books and do what I want to do? Anybody had any of those feelings? Or, oh my, it's nice, I work from home now, I don't have to deal with that. Love and life and the evolution of spirit happens when we have the courage to step into community and to know that we're enough and we have enough. And Ramadan, and I am getting to this, right now Ramadan is happening. And we will go into understanding Islam later, but I want us to understand part of our evolution is beginning. The wonder is, what do I know and fully understand about the world around me? And Islam is one of those places where you can't live in this country and not have gotten really, really wrong ideas. What we've been taught, what we've understood. And one of the things I did in the last 2 weeks was I've been watching all of these YouTubes. And it's actually wonderful on Islam, on Ramadan. And I want to share with you just a few pieces because of some of that. First of all, understanding Islam and the spiritual practices within it is an important step, I believe, for every one of us who lives in this country. Because somewhere there was a break. Somewhere we had to go into competition of us versus them, and we didn't enlarge our understanding. And that is an important piece. As we work to say every being has the divine, we have to know more and understand more. But in Islam, and I want to, the simple history of Islam that was taught several different ways by a professor at, I believe it was the University of Indiana. It was wonderful because he talked about the idea of within 200 years, this tradition in the Arab world of Islam shifted and moved and grew. And it grew from an idea that, of course, they were worshiping many, many gods. And Muhammad came in, another prophet, saying, there's one God, there's one presence, there's one power, and it looks like this. And so these ideas and how that is celebrated is what we get to understand. The 5 basic principles of Islam, Shahada, profession of faith. There's no God but God, and Muhammad is God's prophet. They also believe that Jesus is a prophet, that Abraham was a prophet, that there's many different prophets that have been acknowledged. The word God in Arabic, whether you're Jewish, Christian, or Muslim, is Allah. So it's just simply the word for God, one understanding. Salat is another basic idea. Ritual prayer 5 times a day, at dawn, noon, afternoon, sunset, and late evening. How would our life be if we centered and prayed 5 times a day, minimum? What happens? It says these are an obligation unless you haven't hit puberty, are too sick, or menstruating, was part of what he said. Sawm, S-A-W-M, the month-long fast during Ramadan in which Muslims do not eat or drink or smoke cigarettes during daylight hours. Zakat, almsgiving. Non-poor Muslims are required to give a percentage of their income to the poor. That's just simply a requirement. And Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca, which Muslims must try to fulfill at least once in their life if they're able. But so many different ideas and things. But I want to look at the idea of Ramadan. Now you have Passover, you have Lent, and you have Ramadan. And Ramadan happens at different times during the year. Right now, it's happening now because it goes with a Muslim calendar, which is, it works off of a different basis. But the idea of a month of going within, of fasting, and of prayer, and of focusing on who you are. And so a gentleman, a young man, his name was Thomas, he went in to Dearborn, Michigan, which is one of the places where the most Muslims in this country are, and he went into why, and it has to do with Henry Ford and all these different things. But it was hilarious. He told his experience of learning what Ramadan was, celebrating it with a family. And what he found was, he said, everybody there said, I'm a better part of me. I'm a better form of me because I put out food, I put away smoking, I put away all these things and focus on God, on prayer, and on doing good for others. And that idea is so beautiful. So Ramadan is, it's a lot of fun. We have a couple people in our community who are just beginning, because as the young people get to puberty, it begins somewhere in there. And so this idea of allowing themselves to learn how to fast, and then to get so excited to break that fast. It's been fun to hear more about it and to look at it. But the idea is to purify yourself, to make you a better person, and to help you build and live a better life focused on God, on Allah. And so if you haven't understood what this journey is, the wonder is being able to say, I wonder how right now affects someone who doesn't look like me. I wonder how it affects someone who's Muslim, someone who comes from the Sikh tradition, someone who is Asian, Native American, someone who's black in this country, someone who's white in this country, whatever. Start looking at what happens. And I wonder what life looks like to another person. When we do, we find we are more. So as you go through this next week, 2 weeks, it doesn't mean life is easier. What it means is that your path is one of revolutionary love. You have everything you need to step into this. And if you think you don't have it, call someone here, call a friend, call another and say, will you stand with me in knowing, in the absolute trust that there's a higher answer. I don't know what our next 6 months looks like. I don't know what the next year looks like. But I will say this, I will stand in trust that it is humanity being called to love another, to love themselves, and to love the world. And that is the evolution of spirit. And you are a part of it. And I bless your sacred journey. Thank you. All right. We are going to take our love offering, receive our love offering. If you would like to be a part of it in the building, there is a basket out in the entryway. We are going to receive our tithes and our love offerings. Many of you already either have gone on the website, and you can go on unityofportland.org and donate there. You can do it through PushPay, which is 77977, and the word Unity of Portland, lowercase. You can do that one time or ongoing. You are very welcome, and many do, sending checks in. We're so grateful for all of the giving and all of the cycle of enough that we just continue to trust and to walk forward with. And so as we hold these gifts in our hands, wherever you are in your world, I know that divine love lives as you. No matter what the thoughts are, what the feelings are, there is a core of love that is the truth of your being, and it will move through you as you acknowledge it, call it forth, and trust that it is present, available, and vibrating. And so we just simply say, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And we are so blessed. And so it is. Amen.
From the darkest place to a higher space, calling from every direction. On every single path I have stood strong and cowered fast. What a strange perception. Well, life is demanding, but I am understanding. The best I could was where I stood for a higher bigger lesson, one I never expected, rising up from misunderstood. A higher good. Well, I'm always getting ready on steps that are so unsteady, dancing the same old dances. Oh, I'm never really sure how to fit myself through the door. Well, it's all part of taking chances. Well, life is demanding, but I am understanding the best I could was where I stood for a higher good and a greater truth. Where once it was covered, now I have proof. There's a bigger lesson, one I never expected. I am rising up from misunderstood. Well, I've seen the road at ground level, but there's a wider view at play, a much wider view, and it brings me home to revel on this fine day, for a higher good and a greater truth. Where once it was covered, oh, now I have proof. There's a bigger lesson, one I never expected. Rising up, I am a rising up. I am rising up from misunderstood. A higher, a good, a higher good.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Laura, for bringing your gifts here. Thank you to so many beautiful, beautiful beings in our community. And we have flowers this morning for Leah Rose. And no, I didn't tell you. It was her birthday this week. Are you going to come down? We would love for you to do that. Most of you don't get to see Leah very often. Or if you do, she's behind the booth. But we would love for you to come down and just for us to say thank you, thank you, thank you, and happy birthday. And I can I guess I can't. I have a microphone on. We love you. I'm not taking mine off. I know. We believe in you. We love you. And we thank you for all you do. And happy birthday. Thank you, thank you. I want to also, in just a moment, we're going to close with our peace song and then our unity prayer. But I want to remind you, breathe as I add pray, and push includes pushing. If you don't know what to do, one of the things that I did was pull back out. And now it's been listed as 100 things white people can do for racial justice. You can Google it. It is a wonderful list. And just say, what haven't I done yet? And begin there. Begin with what haven't I done? What is it I am called to do? Because I know that there is always breathing, there is always praying, and there is a requirement for pushing at this time. As we sing our peace song, I would just invite you to allow this knowing of a universal peace that is already established fully in consciousness. And it is us opening to it, breathing through it, and allowing it to breathe us. Let's stand and just simply hold this space wherever you are, in your homes, in your families.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me, with me.
Oh, yes. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let it begin with us as we join together in our unity prayer. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you, God. Have a love-filled week. Blessings, friend.